So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who is watching. And on behest of Middle East Insights and our special course on Indian foreign policy, today we are very privileged to host Ambassador Riva Ganguly Das. She is going to speak about India Bangladesh ties, post Sheikh Hasina's government, continuity shifts, and strategic stakes. Though it would not be any form of justice to explain her bio in a couple of minutes, but I will do a small effort from my side. Ambassador Riva Ganguly Das was the former Secretary East, Ministry of External Affairs, Director General, Indian Council for Cultural Relations, alternate permanent representative to OPCW, The Hague, Director, United Nations Economic and Social Affairs Division. She has expertise in Nepal, public diplomacy, passport, consular affairs, and UN matters. She was also High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Ambassador to Romania, Albania, and Moldova, and Consul General in Shanghai and New York. So, with this, ma'am, I would like to welcome you formally and thank you for the privilege of your time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
And my basic first question is that India-Bangladesh relations have experienced a certain kind of strain since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government in August 2024. There are different priorities, public sentiments, and political changes. What do you make of it?
Well, as you know, while Sheikh Hasina was in power for 15 long years, she came to power in 2009 elections, in the 2008 elections. And, her coming to, her taking over as prime minister saw a lot of changes in our bilateral relationship. The structure, in diplomacy, you build an architecture and a structure of a relationship. So that was slowly built from 2009 onwards. There were multiple high-level engagements between the two countries and covering almost all areas of cooperation. And I will confidently say that, these are areas of cooperation which are mutually beneficial to India and Bangladesh. On these areas of cooperation, we did a lot of work. The land boundary agreement was signed. We had differences with Bangladesh on our maritime boundary. Bangladesh took us to court. Even though we lost a little bit of the claim that we were making in our original claim, we, in the spirit of good neighborly relations, and because India does not only talk about respecting rule of law, we actually respect rule of law. So we accepted the arbitration award. So we have, our boundaries are demarcated. Sheikh Hasina, as prime minister, got rid of the Indian insurgent groups from Bangladesh. India offered tariff-free entry to Bangladeshi goods. Many exceptions, many unilateral, steps were taken to facilitate Bangladesh's trade with India. Bangladesh doubled its trade from 1 billion to 2 billion in just a matter of 4 years. And by 2024, our bilateral trade was 18 billion US dollars. Bangladesh had a very good market of processed foods, garments, erotic drinks, furniture, wooden furniture in the northeastern region. So, we used to call that the golden chapter. Naturally, Sheikh Hasina's regime came to an end through a very violent political upheaval. It saw street fights between the regime, the law enforcement, and the protesting students, who were joined by normal, ordinary citizens. There were a lot of women, children who were out on the streets. And, the perception in Bangladesh was that, Sheikh Hasina was able to remain in power for all this while because of the support of India. And the tide completely turned against us because we were seen as, the main supporters of Hasina. And so, all Bangladeshis felt that all their problems India was responsible for everything that was a problem for them, be it price rise, be it economic problem or whatever. And her entire foreign policy was seen as something which compromised Bangladesh's interests. And this is an absolutely wrong assessment. This is a narrative which Bangladesh has built, which is no basis in fact. I think it was a relationship built on mutual trust, mutual respect, and extremely deep friendship based on historical contact, linguistic contact, people to people contact. So it's so now, unfortunately, we are going through a period where there is lack of trust, and Bangladesh itself is going through a huge political turmoil right now.
Yes, ma'am. And during your tenure, like we have heard that, and we know that most of the textile workers in Bangladesh are women, and they are socioeconomically more marginalized. And even during the COVID pandemic, they were the first who were hardly, like massively hit because of the impact of the pandemic. So during your tenure, what was your perception about the socio-economic class divisions within Bangladesh, specifically for women?
Well, I have done two postings in Bangladesh. When I went as High Commissioner in 2019, I saw a lot of changes from what I was used to when I was there from 1999 to 2002. I was there for a longish period, and Bangladesh was very different then. And when I went back in 2019, I saw many more obvious symbols of embrace of religion. In those days, in 99 to 2002, you hardly saw any woman in burqa. It was very unusual to see a lady in a burqa or with the headscarf. But that became very common by the time I came back in 2019. And but women were so women's empowerment was transformational in Bangladesh during this period. When I stepped out of Dhaka, and I used to travel a lot, you would see little girls playing football in schools, and girls going to school in cycles, because Sheikh Hasina had this program of giving cycle to school-going girls. And the entire garment industry, the backbone of the garment industry is the women workforce. Unfortunately, with the political turmoil that has hit Bangladesh since 5th August, and the and the consequent economic turmoil that is still going on, which the government unfortunately is not able to sort of manage very well, women have been disproportionately impacted. They have lost jobs. You see the statistics every day that many garment industries have closed down. Many factories have closed down. And these are some of these women are the sole bread earners. So I think altogether the status of women would have undergone quite a bit of change from the 15 years of peaceful progress had brought about. Because let's not forget that Bangladesh saw 6+% GDP growth for several years, in fact, more than a decade. And that had a huge economic impact in the country. But definitely, Bangladesh has transformed itself from the early days to now. And now, after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, and under this interim government where law and order is very, very tenuous, there have been cases of, in fact, little girls were prevented from playing football in a village, and a girl a man sort of assaulted a woman for wearing a dupatta in a particular way. And when a case was filed, this man was put in jail, but he was given bail. And when he came out, he was garlanded and, felicitated. So I think women are much more insecure. Women are facing the brunt of the mob violence which is going on in the country. And it is easy to attack women. We all know that.
Yeah. And uh, since 5th August is now approaching fast, why do you think that 1 year, or what do you think would this 1 year of ousting of the Hasina government, plus also the opposition that has grown towards Yunus government, is 5th August now going to be something important for this year?
See, the government has already announced, a whole lot of events to mark the July uprising and, the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government on 5th August, and Professor Yunus taking over on 8th August, which was also declared marked as the government has announced that this should be a national day. So I think from what I've followed in the news, there is a lot of uh, criticism of this decision, particularly to mark 8th August as a significant day, and so much so that you actually mark it as a national day of national importance, because people are saying that all that happened on 8th August was that Professor Yunus took over office. I mean, it could have been 5th August is understandable. But what is the process that is happening now in Bangladesh is that, there's huge ideological differences between, the people who were in the forefront of the July movement, who are saying that this supersedes the 71 liberation war. And I think this is a very, very important issue which concerns Bangladesh's ideology, which concerns their polity, which is important for their future. That what sort of politics, what sort of a society, what kind of culture this country will have. And I think this is really for them as a nation to sort out, because, whether 71 is more important or July 24 is more important, and where each one stands vis-a-vis the other is something which Bangladesh really needs to resolve once and for all. And I don't think it's going to be easy, because there are all kinds of interests behind these ideological differences. And, so July and August are going to be tough months, I think, for the country.
And, ma'am, there were few reports that after 1971, it was for the first time that American troops were seen in Bangladesh. At the same time, though everyone uses the term deep state, it's become very fashionable these days. But there was also this conspiracy or this hypothesis that US deep state was involved in the ousting of Hasina government and the establishment of bringing back Yunus. How do you perceive this?
See, I'm sure, many years down the line, some fabulous book will come out, which we will all read, which will tell us about what actually happened and how it happened, and the involvement of foreign forces. I personally feel that, the movement in July last year, the anti-quota movement, and how it spiraled, into a very violent sort of protest movement, was to a very large extent organic. The government could have handled it better, could have had, the offer of dialogue and all, which came perhaps a little too late, could have been done earlier. Discussions could have been held with the students and via media account. Because if you really look at it, what were they saying? They were saying that Mukti Jodhas should not get that, the quota in jobs, which was there. And the government's position was not as if, they wanted to hang on to the quota. In fact, it was a court decision which led to this massive movement. So it could have been handled in better, and and maybe the situation would have been different. But there is no doubt that there are enough foreign forces, vested interests in Bangladesh who would have taken full advantage of the turmoil going on. And we know now, because there have been confessions, a lot of confessions have come up that the Chhatra Shubir, which is the students' wing of the Jamaat-e-Islami, was actively involved. I mean, they were really in the forefront of this struggle, of this protest movement. And they have all, because, their activities were banned. So they are all coming out of the closet now and claiming the July movement. There are many theories that the deep state was involved. We will probably never know the real facts, the evidence for that. But definitely, in Bangladesh, in the internal politics, a lot of foreign agencies, foreign powers take interest. And I have no doubt that once they saw there was a turmoil going on, people, various vested interests took full advantage.
Yeah. Anurag is asking a question which is as follows. A common refrain regarding the current disadvantaged position of India vis-a-vis Bangladesh is that New Delhi committed the mistake of putting all its eggs in one basket, which is Sheikh Hasina's leadership and the Awami League, while not building constituencies among other key players like the BNP, as opposed to China, which had built ties with both Awami League and BNP. What are your thoughts on this?
As far as India's relationship with the various political entities of Bangladesh is concerned, it started even before 71. Because, even before the liberation, Tajuddin Ahmed went to India, met Mrs. Gandhi, and, there are historical facts there. The government in exile was formed and was operating from Kolkata. So our relations with the political parties and the political leaders in Bangladesh is very deep-rooted, historical, and there is a lot of, legacy to that. In contrast, the Chinese did not even recognize Bangladesh till Mujib was alive. It was only after Mujib's assassination that they recognized Bangladesh. They used their veto power repeatedly, if I'm not mistaken, 4 times to oppose Bangladesh's membership of the United Nations. So, typically the Chinese did not get involved in any kind of internal politics of Bangladesh. But it was during Zia's time, Zia Rahman's time, that, Bangladesh did show an inclination and a leaning towards China. China slowly started interacting with political parties, political entities, and, during Awami League's period, when Sheikh Hasina was in power, there were very frequent visits by Awami League party delegations to China. I think 2 or 3 delegations would visit in a year. The CPC delegations would keep coming in. And there was not so many, I don't recall that many delegations from BNP visiting China at that point. Whereas now, as we speak, there is a high-profile BNP delegation which is visiting China. Earlier, the Jamaat-e-Islami sent a big delegation to China. And so China is getting involved in internal politics of Bangladesh and, interacting with political parties. On our part with the Awami League, it has been a very unique relationship, and I don't think, we have to either, apologize for it or, it's just been historical. From 1970s onwards, there's been close relationship, and we know that, the former president, Pranab Mukherjee, was very close to the Bangladeshi leadership. He was like a, close confidant and mentor. and there were personal relationship between many political parties, many political leaders. And with the BNP also, we have interactions, we've had engagement. But the problem is, BNP has never made it clear what their position vis-a-vis India is. Their record of governance from 2001, when they won the 2001 election, and that particular period, 2002 to 2006, you see for yourself, there was nothing which happened in the bilateral relationship which could enthuse you or bring about any confidence. I mean, from the Chittagong Arms Hall to attack on minorities, there was vicious attack on minorities after the election results were announced, and for months together. And then Indian insurgent groups were very active. The ISI was active in Bangladesh. Every effort was made to hurt India's interests, and I think none of our concerns were taken on board. This history cannot be forgotten. Of course, now as Bangladesh moves towards election, we will also have to take a view on, interacting with. We've done business with BNP before also, and whoever comes to power, Bangladesh is a close neighbor. We share a very long border. So we will, I'm sure, see how much we interact, how can we interact, how do we engage. But I personally feel that, it's a far, far important relationship which we cannot ignore, and we need to engage. And if we don't, other people will fill that vacuum.
Yes, yes. And how do you think that, how was Operation Sindoor, or even the terror attack at Pahalgam on 22nd of April this year, how did the Bangladeshi leadership perceive it? What were their internal, we'll never know what the internal calculations were, but was Bangladesh able to, at least the political leadership, able to accept or believe in the fact that there was a terrorist attack that took place?
See, there are, I think some formal statements were made, if I recall, condemning that. But the social media and television media had a lot of discussions on Operation Sindoor. It was, Bangladesh naturally takes a lot of interest in what happens in India. And this was an India-Pak issue, which was... which was of interest to the whole world, and naturally, as a close neighbor, Bangladesh had its eyes on it, and all kinds of speculative and conspiratorial theories were going around. But I think they are also at the present moment quite consumed by their internal developments, which is happening very fast. And so, as soon as ceasefire was declared, it has sort of fallen from the news cycle. But certainly, because of the conflict, the visit of the Pakistan foreign minister, which was to happen during that time, did not happen. That visit got cancelled, and because, as you know, previous to that, after a very long gap, Bangladesh and Pakistan had their foreign office consultations. And this was very unusual because, this was a repairing of relationship, which was a little, it was very clear why that was being done. And, but there are still a lot of people in Bangladesh who remember what the Pakistanis did on 25th March, Operation Searchlight. And following this, the killing of thousands of Bangladeshis, raping of thousands of Bangladeshi women, I don't think, while some section may forget that, there is a very large section in Bangladesh which remembers the exploitative relationship that they have with Pakistan, as East Pakistan, and what the Pakistanis did in 71.
Yeah. In fact, when on 4th of December 1971, when Indira Gandhi, even though Nixon had put a lot of pressure on the Indira Gandhi government of attacking in support of Pakistan against India, when she had taken the call of liberating and creating Bangladesh, when the Indian Armed Force were deployed, they left after 2 years. And nowhere in the history of world politics have we seen that a neighbor country or even a different country's army, when deployed, leaves. They eventually just stay and occupy for a very long time. So that was a very important role that the Indian Army had played, especially in rescuing a lot of rape survivors and children who were traumatized and completely their lives had been jeopardized in ways that one cannot even document. But having said that, right now, post the Hasina government, there have been reports of violence against the Hindu minority in Bangladesh. India has repeatedly raised concerns about minority safety, notably in the case of Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishna Das, who was arrested on sedition charges, prompting India to call for fair treatment. At the same time, in December 2024, a mob of Hindu activists vandalized Bangladesh's Assistant High Commission in Agartala, in India, in response to the perceived minority persecution. The government right now, the interim government, says that they have increased security for minorities, asserting that Hindus, and there are many other minorities in Bangladesh, that they are increasing the security for them. But do you think that is it just a rhetoric that has been adopted, or there is some kind of grassroots measures taken to safeguard the minorities that are there in Bangladesh?
See, minorities have been a vulnerable community in Bangladesh, and they have faced attacks, and mainly for economic reasons, for land grab, throwing people out of their villages, lands, creating terror so that people leave, and property can be then sort of taken over. Attacking religious places of worship of all minorities. We know that a large number of Sufi shrines were also have also been attacked in this period since the Muhammad Yunus government has come to power. So this is definitely, the government has said that there is no tolerance to this, and they want to protect all minorities. But the fact remains that Bangladesh is there is they themselves say that some sort of mobocracy is going on. You saw how a mob was created to completely bring down a two-story building, which was Mujib's house and the museum, Bangabandhu Museum. And similarly, houses of several Awami League leaders was attacked all over the country, again by mobs, and who sort of went around with bulldozer. Now, typically, who has a bulldozer? You and I don't keep bulldozers at home, right? A bulldozer is with government institutions or with construction companies. So clearly, government did not do anything. It may have encouraged this kind of activity. So till this government is able to bring law and order, some sort of control over law and order, which they still haven't been able to do. It is much better from earlier. The army still has magistracy powers. It's out in doing civilian work. But till there is actually the police is functional, they are there out on the streets, I think there is reason for worry. And the minorities will obviously remain vulnerable, because the government has really not shown much, sort of willpower or sincerity in dealing with this problem.
Yeah.
There is even yesterday or day before one a religious shrine was attacked.
Yes, yes. And I might be wrong, but the parallel of what happened in Iran in 1979, where religion was just the facade of socio-economic anguishes within people against the elite powers that were in close relations with the Shah regime, and a way of punishing them in the name of religion and in the name of the figure of Khomeini. I see that a similar parallel is happening in Bangladesh, where the root cause is socioeconomic. It is unemployment, it is inflation, it is the low standard of living, the lack of egalitarian privileges or even opportunities for people across. But religion, again, is being used to bring people together, to form a certain kind of a kind of script that cannot be then criticized, a kind of rhetoric because it has godly powers or God's, Allah's, or impact in it. And a lot of people who are socioeconomically underprivileged will then get also influenced by that rhetoric.
I think Bangladesh is a little different from that perspective. The religious groups that are there, they have only pockets of support. It's not as if they have overall overwhelming majority support. I think any average normal Bangladeshi wants to live in peace with their neighbors, with their community, within their community, and they are secular minded. I mean, the number of Durga Pujas which happen, more than 33,000 pandals all over Bangladesh, and most of it peaceful. There is always an odd incident where one pandal is vandalized, and people from all walks of life go enjoy, eat, like we do in India, like Bengalis do, wear a new sari and go out and see the Durga pandal. So I think that culture is very much there. We have to understand that Bangladeshis consider themselves overwhelmingly as Bengalis. The Bengali identity is very strongly rooted in Bengali language, Bengali literature, Bengali music, theatre, a very, very rich culture with many years of history, which, fortunately we share with them. I think, the patience with religious extremism is not there. And in any free and fair election of till date, Jamaat has not been able to get too many seats. I think the maximum seats they got was some 20 seats probably in the 2001 election. And this time also, I don't think the situation has changed to the extent to which, any free and fair election, the Jamaat-e-Islami will get a lot of votes. Of course, there is no doubt that, they are a big force behind the present government. They dictate terms with the present government. They are in very important positions. They are being appointed in important positions in the judiciary, in the civil administration, and in every other walk of life. So that is there. But, once an election is held and a representative government is in power, government which comes through the ballot, I think, then Bangladesh itself can take a fresh look at where it is headed and what is the path to its future.
Yeah. And Anurag is asking the question that recently there have emerged reports of internal tension and conflict between Bangladesh Army General and Muhammad Yunus government over issues such as early conduction of elections and building of humanitarian corridor to Myanmar's Rakhine state. Given General Zaman's opposition to Islamist factions gaining influence and his ties with Hasina government erstwhile, do you believe India has an opportunity to build back its position into Bangladesh?
Uh, Look, I think as an important partner, as an important neighbor, and given the states that we have in Bangladesh, considering that they are, they are the recipient of the largest line of credit by India, more than 8 billion US dollars, with so many projects there, IT park, railway lines, road widening project. Um, and the what we call the high impact community development project. More than 75 community development projects have been done by us. These are basically in the in the sector of education, women's empowerment, and community development, provision of fresh water. So in all, it's a very, very vibrant relationship, and I don't think we should be pessimistic. We will have to do business with Bangladesh. We cannot let this relationship drift, and we cannot let we have to sort of take control of India-Bangladesh relation. We have to deal with the issues. It's the fifth largest border in the world. Most of the border is demarcated, but it's not the entire border is not fenced. So there are many issues that we have with them. We share 54 rivers. So I don't think there is an alternative to building bridges, to building a relationship. When we do it, and when is the atmosphere to do it? You've heard, it's being debated a lot what MEA meant by saying conducive atmosphere. What the word conducive means, that the atmosphere has to be conducive, which means Bangladesh has to assure India that the government will take care of our basic security interests. That has to be on the table. Without that, how can you move forward in the relationship? That's a very important thing. And, till now, Yunus government has done nothing to assure us that they really want good relations with us. I mean, every time Professor Yunus has said things which I think he should have known that it will not go down well in India at all, neither in the government nor in public perception. So we have to engage at some point of time. But the $1 million thing is when it is conducive. As far as the army is concerned, you're right, Anurag. The army and Professor Yunus have differences between themselves. Professor Yunus has, has uh, has he was brought in by the students. He has said that publicly, that the students approached him to join the government. And, one of the students actually said that, General Bakar told them that, this was not an acceptable choice for us. But be that as it may, it's in the past. Professor Yunus is now, is the interim head. His main job now is to declare elections, conduct a free, fair, inclusive election, and let elected government take power and let Bangladesh move forward in a path that the people of Bangladesh choose. This interim government does not represent the will of the people. The will of the people is represented by an elected government. And Wakar has made it very clear that he has no interest in governance. And, he in fact said that we would like to go back to the cantonment as soon as possible. We don't want to prolong this period of uncertainty. And, if he had any interest in power, he could have declared martial law administration on 5th August itself.
Yeah, military coup is now, since 1951-52, it's the easiest road to take, especially in civilian administrations. And my last question to you, ma'am, is that in this current atmosphere, when there's so much of hatred being fueled by media, and often we just consume it without knowing the grassroots details. Could you share one particular experience that you had in Bangladesh that was very uplifting and empowering, and it really, showed you the essence of the relationship that we have?
Um, I think I had many such experiences, but I would say that, one thing which was very touching for me, and maybe, um, uh, you know, because I'm a Bengali, I speak Bengali, I know Bengali literature a bit. I found it very nice that, the major Bengali icons who were born in, then undivided India, later East Pakistan, and now Bangladesh. Many of their houses, which were, uh, taken over as enemy property, or people just went and squatted in these houses, were actually, taken over by the administration, cleaned up, spruced up, and made into little museums. There is about Tagore, we know Tagore's a big his a lot of his house has a lot of his work has been written from Shelai Daho. That is a very important place, and Government of India has there was a joint project to build a guest house there and to do some development work there. Then there is another Tagore house, which is in Tagore's house, which is in a place called Potishar, which is where he used to go because they had their zamidari there. So Tagore used to go there. Never stayed in the house. He used to stay in the boat because that place is surrounded by water, and he used to do his collection of revenue, etc. from there. And then there is Shehjadpur, the house which was vandalized recently, very nicely kept by the Bangladesh government. In fact, Bangladesh government has even nicely kept the the in-laws place. Tagore's in-laws house is a very nice little house where Tagore never visited. But the house has been done up, kept nicely, whitewashed, and it's a nice place to visit. Similarly, another iconic Bengali poet, Jibanananda Das, who was also born in and lived for a long time in, now Bangladesh, his house was also, under somebody had simply taken over the administration, got rid of those people. They built a nice little library, and the house has been cleaned up. The old house does not exist, but at least there is a memory of Jivanananda Das from a place where he's written some of his richest poetry. Suchitra Sen's house, I was very surprised to see, exists. And apparently she was born there, Suchitra Sen's grandfather's house, nicely done up, nicely kept. Again, encroachments removed. And there was a plan then to have a museum and a little movie hall to show Suchitra Sen's films there. So a lot of, icons, their houses, a lot of houses has fallen apart and have been encroached upon, taken over. But some of the ones that I visited, I was very touched. I thought this is a very nice, connect that we have. And it is really unfortunate that we did not work more on this, obvious historical connection that we have. And there are not more people from India who visit these places and enjoy and see for themselves how, Indian icons are, are celebrated as our shared icons in Bangladesh.
With this, ma'am, I would like to thank you, and also, especially, though I am not doing gender segregation, but at least all the women who are watching and who would watch it later on YouTube, ma'am has been one of the perfect role models to look up to and to emulate in diplomacy. I would request all of you to go and research more on her and her work, and especially not only in the Indian neighborhood, but also in Eastern Europe, which right now is going on in its own conflict. But and these are very important lives to know about, and the legacy of lives to live, because what as a diplomat ma'am has achieved is not something that ended with her tenure, but the legacy of that is a dream aspiration to countless of others who want to see the world and want to make a difference and understand the cultural, specifically the cultural aspects along with the political one, and also learn how to, answer questions and explain one's own perspective. So, with this, ma'am, thank you so much for the privilege of your time. And I
Thank
thank everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you for those very kind and lovely words. And I would like to encourage all the women who are watching and also all the men that, foreign service is a fabulous service. For somehow, I think all youngsters feel that, foreign service is very difficult. It is much more difficult than, your life is much more difficult. I don't think so. I think civil services take a lot out of you, and you should be ready for that when you appear for the exam. And you get trained, you live the job, and it's a fabulous way to represent your country, to fly your flag abroad. So I would encourage all of you to really give a shot to the foreign service. And thank you once again for inviting me. It has been such a pleasure.
Yeah, and we have lived some part of your job with your eyes today.
Thank you.
So thank you for that privilege.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, ma'am. Bye. Bye.